When you hear the name Ikoyi, most people think of wealth, luxury apartments, and high-rise offices. But behind the polished glass towers and manicured lawns, there's another Ikoyi that many Lagosians, and even visitors, rarely get to see. Ikoyi is one of Lagos's oldest neighborhoods, dating back to the colonial era. Hidden among its modern structures are relics of a forgotten past, silent reminders of a time when this area was once the administrative heart of British Lagos. Here you'll still find crumbling colonial houses, some swallowed by vines and trees, whispering stories of officers and traders who once lived here. Many of these houses are unmarked, unseen, and unknown to the fast-paced city rushing by. But it's not all history. Beyond the gated mansions lies a local Ikoyi that doesn't make the headlines. Street food vendors line small corners serving suya, roasted plantain, and pepper soup to workers, drivers, and night owls. These roadside spots have fed Ikoyi for decades, surviving in the shadows of luxury dining. Few outsiders know of Ikoyi's cultural and social landmarks. The Ikoyi Club 1938, for instance, is more than just an elite playground. It's a hub of history, sports, and old Lagos traditions, where generations have gathered to play, argue, and bond. And then there's the hidden beauty of water. While traffic roars outside, Ikoyi quietly touches the Lagos Lagoon, where fishermen still cast their nets at dawn and private boats cruise out into the Atlantic. From this angle, Ikoyi feels like a small island village caught between history and modern ambition. Ikoyi is more than Nigeria's symbol of wealth. It is a neighborhood of contrasts, past and present, seen and unseen. To walk through its quieter corners is to discover a Lagos that many don't know exists. Ikoyi's story cannot be told without tracing its roots to the colonial era. Long before it became the symbol of affluence in Lagos, Ikoyi was a strategic administrative hub under British rule. The British colonial government saw Ikoyi as the perfect space to house their officers and expatriates, far from the bustling, crowded streets of Lagos Island. Wide streets, airy compounds, and stately colonial bungalows were built, many of which still stand today, tucked quietly behind newer mansions and luxury estates. These old buildings, with their high ceilings, broad verandas, and vintage architectural style, are silent storytellers. They remind us of a time when Lagos was a nerve center of colonial trade and governance. Some of these structures have been repurposed into offices, guest houses, or cultural spaces, while others crumble slowly, almost hidden beneath thick vegetation. Ikoyi was also a neighborhood of influence. The colonial government built institutions and residences here that cemented its reputation as a place of privilege. The Ikoyi Club, founded in 1938, grew out of this period as a recreational space for British officers, and to this day, it remains a landmark carrying colonial echoes. But beyond the physical architecture, Ikoyi's colonial heritage shaped its identity. It became synonymous with order, exclusivity, and status, qualities that still define it in modern Lagos. Today, while high-rise towers and embassies dominate the skyline, traces of the colonial era survive in pockets, offering a glimpse into Lagos's layered history. To walk through these forgotten corners is to walk through time, seeing Ikoyi not just as the luxury address it has become, but as a living museum of Lagos's colonial past. When most people think of Ikoyi, what comes to mind are gated estates, embassies, and luxury apartments. Yet beyond the polished image lies a network of hidden streets and modest communities that tell a different story about this neighborhood. In the shadows of high-rise towers, small settlements thrive. Narrow lanes lead to clusters of family houses tucked away from the glossy main roads. Here, children play football barefoot on dusty grounds, women gather to cook and sell food, and artisans work tirelessly, repairing furniture, tailoring clothes, or running small shops. These streets are alive with the pulse of everyday Lagos life, reminding us that Ikoyi is not only for the wealthy but also for ordinary people who have called it home for generations. Many of these communities predate the luxury estates that dominate the area today. Some residents are descendants of workers who served in colonial households. Others are migrants drawn to the economic opportunities of Lagos. Over time, they've built tightly knit communities where neighbors share more than just space. They share survival, resilience, and tradition. Hidden within Ikoyi's backstreets are also cultural gems. small churches, mosques, and local markets that rarely appear on maps. These places sustain the heart of the community, offering connection in a city that often feels divided by wealth. These lesser-known parts of Ikoyi reveal the contrast that defines Lagos, where privilege and struggle exist side by side. To explore these streets is to uncover the soul of Ikoyi, a reminder that behind the gates and skyscrapers lies a neighborhood built on people, history, and quiet resilience. Behind the luxury dining halls and fine restaurants that Ikoyi is known for, there exists another food culture, one that is humbler, older, and deeply woven into the fabric of Lagos life. This is the world of street food, where the real flavors of Ikoyi can be found sizzling by the roadside. As dusk falls, smoke rises from roadside grills. Suya vendors sharpen their knives, slicing beef into thin strips before seasoning it with pepper, ginger, and secret spices. Customers gather under the glow of lanterns and car headlights, waiting for their share of this fiery delicacy wrapped in newspaper. Just a few steps away, the sweet aroma of roasted plantain, boli, fills the air, served hot with groundnut or spicy pepper sauce. In the early morning, food sellers prepare akara and pap for workers heading out. By afternoon, pepper soup spots and small buka kitchens open their doors, serving steaming bowls of catfish, goat meat, or cowtail pepper soup, often accompanied by a cold drink. These places may not have polished decor, but they are where business deals are sealed, friendships are built, and Lagos's famous hospitality is on full display. For many, street food is more than convenience, it is culture. It bridges the gap between Ikoyi's wealthy elites and its everyday workers. Drivers, security guards, bankers, and diplomats all line up at the same stalls, united by the simple joy of a hot, freshly made meal. Street food in Ikoyi represents survival, community, and identity. It tells the story of a neighborhood that, despite its glamour, still thrives on the energy and flavors of Lagos's streets. Ikoyi is not just a neighborhood of luxury homes and offices. It is also home to one of Lagos's most historic institutions, the Ikoyi Club, 1938. Founded during the colonial era, the club began as an exclusive recreational space for British expatriates. Over the decades, it evolved into a Nigerian landmark, blending sport, leisure, and high society in a way that continues to shape the character of Ikoyi. Spread across vast grounds, the club offers facilities for golf, tennis, swimming, squash, and even polo. Its golf course, stretching across lush greenery, is a rare escape from Lagos's urban chaos, a sanctuary where members can relax and recharge. But beyond sports, the Ikoyi Club is also a meeting ground, a place where relationships are built and deals are made. Membership here is considered prestigious, often passed down from one generation to the next. Within its walls, Nigeria's business elites, politicians, diplomats, and professionals mingle freely, away from the noise of the city. Conversations held at the bar or over a round of golf have shaped partnerships, sealed contracts, and influenced decisions reaching far beyond Lagos. But the club is more than power and privilege. It also symbolizes tradition, continuity, and community. For many families, Ikoyi Club is part of their heritage, a place where birthdays are celebrated, friendships are nurtured, and a sense of belonging thrives. In today's fast-paced Lagos, Ikoyi Club 1938 remains a reminder of the city's layered history. It is both a recreational hub and a quiet engine of influence where leisure and networking blend seamlessly. To understand Ikoyi is to understand this institution, a world where sport meets society and tradition fuels connection. Ikoyi may be known today for its bustling roads and towering skylines, but behind the traffic and concrete lies one of its most overlooked treasures, the waterways. Bordered by the Lagos Lagoon, Ikoyi quietly holds pockets of water that shape its history, lifestyle, and identity. At Osborne Foreshore and other hidden corners, the lagoon stretches wide and calm, a sharp contrast to the city's noise. Here, fishermen still cast their nets at dawn, paddling in wooden canoes the way their ancestors did. Their quiet presence reminds us that before the bridges, estates, and embassies, Ikoyi was tied to the rhythm of water. These waterways are not just for fishing, they are a lifeline of movement and trade. From private jetties, boats and ferries glide out, connecting Ikoyi to Victoria Island, Lekki, and beyond. For those who can afford it, the waterways offer escape from Lagos's infamous traffic. But for local communities, the water remains a workplace, a source of food, and a symbol of survival. The lagoon also adds to Ikoyi's hidden beauty. At sunset, the water glitters in gold and the skyline reflects against the calm surface, a sight few stop to notice. In these moments, Ikoyi feels less like a crowded urban hub and more like a quiet island village. Yet the waterways face challenges. Pollution, land reclamation, and urban expansion threaten their future. Still, they remain one of Ikoyi's best-kept secrets. A reminder that this neighborhood is more than its luxury apartments and colonial history. Ikoyi's waterways are where past and present meet, where tradition and modern life float side by side. To explore them is to see Ikoyi from an entirely different perspective, not just as land, but as a community shaped by water. Contrasts of wealth and struggle. 2. Ikoyis in 1. Ikoyi is often described as one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Nigeria, a place of million-dollar mansions, embassies, and luxury high-rises. But beneath that image lies another Ikoyi, one that tells a very different story. Here, wealth and struggle live side by side, sometimes separated only by a street or a fence. On one hand, Ikoyi is home to some of Lagos's most expensive real estate. Gated estates house political figures, corporate executives, and international diplomats. High-rise apartments overlook the lagoon, while luxury cars glide through wide, tree-lined avenues. This is the Ikoyi many outsiders imagine, polished, privileged, and powerful. Yet a few streets away, you find another reality. Tucked into back alleys and informal settlements are the everyday workers who sustain Ikoyi's image of comfort. Security guards, drivers, artisans, and food vendors live in modest homes, sometimes in cramped conditions. Their daily lives stand in sharp contrast to the affluence around them, yet they are the invisible backbone of the neighborhood. This contrast is not just physical, it is cultural. In the same space where lavish parties take place in private mansions, women sell roasted plantain by the roadside. While golf games unfold at Ikoyi Club, fishermen quietly paddle into the lagoon to cast their nets. The two worlds exist in parallel, rarely colliding but constantly shaping each other. Ikoyi's contrasts reflect the larger story of Lagos, a city of ambition and inequality where wealth is displayed boldly, but struggle persists quietly. To truly understand Ikoyi is to see both sides, the privilege that defines it and the resilience that sustains it. Ikoyi Prison, a hidden landmark in plain sight. Amid the polished estates, luxury apartments, and embassies of Ikoyi stands a landmark that many overlook. The Ikoyi Correctional Center, commonly known as Ikoyi Prison. It is one of Lagos's oldest institutions, quietly tucked between bustling streets, and yet its presence tells a story that is rarely spoken about. Built during the colonial era, the prison was designed for a small population. Decades later, it has become one of the most overcrowded correctional facilities in Nigeria, holding far more inmates than it was originally intended for. Behind its high walls and barbed wires lies a stark contrast to the affluence surrounding it. While Ikoyi is a symbol of wealth and privilege, within the prison gates are men living with limited freedom, many awaiting trial for years. The prison has occasionally drawn public attention, from reports of overcrowding and poor conditions to rare moments of reform programs aimed at education, skills training, and rehabilitation. These efforts highlight the tension between punishment and correction and raise questions about justice and inequality in Lagos. What makes Ikoyi Prison even more striking is its location. Just steps away from embassies, upscale hotels, and corporate offices, it stands as a reminder of society's divisions. For outsiders, Ikoyi is a place of opportunity. For those inside, it represents confinement and forgotten lives. The correctional center is not just a facility, it is a mirror of Lagos itself, a city of ambition and struggle, privilege and exclusion, hope and despair. To understand Ikoyi fully, one must acknowledge the prison's existence, standing quietly in the middle of wealth, carrying stories few ever hear. Ikoyi is often described as an island of calm in the restless heart of Lagos. Unlike many parts of the city where concrete crowds every inch of land, Ikoyi still carries an unusual gift: green spaces. Tree-lined avenues, private gardens, and hidden patches of nature soften the intensity of urban life and give this neighborhood a distinctive character. Driving through Ikoyi, one quickly notices the tall trees that shade its streets, relics of colonial planning that prioritized wide roads and greenery. Some of these trees have stood for generations, their canopies creating a natural cover that slows down the chaos of the city. In a place like Lagos, where open space is a luxury, Ikoyi feels almost like a different world. Within its estates and compounds, lush gardens flourish. Mansions often feature carefully tended lawns and flowering plants, while embassies and corporate residences preserve expansive green areas behind high walls. The Ikoyi Club's golf course, stretching across wide acres, remains one of the largest green lungs in the area, a rare sanctuary of grass and open sky in the middle of a megacity. But nature in Ikoyi is not only about the elite. In its back streets, small community gardens sprout and open fields become playgrounds for children. Birds, insects, and even the occasional monkeys remind residents that Lagos is not just urban steel, but also part of a vibrant ecosystem. These green spaces serve more than beauty. They provide balance. They offer shade, cleaner air, and a sense of peace in a city that rarely stops moving. Ikoyi's natural charm is one of its best-kept secrets, a reminder that even in Nigeria's busiest city, nature still finds ways to breathe. Beyond its reputation for wealth and prestige, Ikoyi is also a community of faith. Tucked between embassies, mansions, and high-rise apartments are churches, mosques, and smaller worship centers that quietly shape the rhythm of daily life here. They are reminders that, despite its modern image, Ikoyi is still deeply connected to Nigeria's spiritual heartbeat. On Sunday mornings, the sound of church bells echoes through leafy streets. Historic churches, some dating back to the colonial era, still stand as landmarks of continuity. Congregations gather in elegant stone chapels as well as in simple makeshift halls, united by song, prayer, and community. Faith here is not just ritual, it is tradition, woven into family histories that span generations. At the same time, mosques also anchor the neighborhood. The call to prayer rings out from minarets, reaching both the wealthy and the working class. From small roadside prayer spaces to established mosques, these places offer spiritual refuge in a city that often feels overwhelming. Religion in Ikoyi goes beyond worship. It is also social. Churches and mosques host weddings, naming ceremonies, and community events that bring together residents across class divides. Spiritual life here blends solemnity with celebration, giving Ikoyi a cultural depth often overshadowed by its material image. Even within gated estates and diplomatic residences, quiet spiritual practices flourish, from family devotions to meditation and interfaith gatherings. This mix of traditions reflects Lagos's diversity, and Ikoyi stands as a microcosm of it all. In the midst of luxury and power, Ikoyi's religious and spiritual life reminds us of something timeless, the human need for connection, meaning, and hope. Behind the walls and towers, faith remains one of the neighborhood's strongest foundations. Ikoyi today stands as one of the most influential neighborhoods in Lagos, not just for its wealth, but for the power it represents. Home to embassies, corporate headquarters, luxury apartments, and government residences, Ikoyi functions as a nerve center where business, politics, and diplomacy quietly converge. Deals are struck in boardrooms, international negotiations unfold behind embassy gates, and strategies that shape Lagos, and sometimes Nigeria, are crafted in this small but powerful enclave. The neighborhood's reputation for exclusivity has also made it a symbol of aspiration. For many, to live in Ikoyi is to have arrived. Its real estate market continues to rank among the most expensive in Africa, attracting investors and expatriates alongside Nigeria's political and business elite. At the same time, Ikoyi retains a cultural role. From historic landmarks like the Ikoyi Club to its vibrant food and street life, it balances modern ambition with tradition. But Ikoyi's influence comes with contradictions. Its wealth exists beside modest communities, its quiet streets mask deep inequalities, and its polished image often hides the human stories that make it real. This contrast is what gives Ikoyi its complexity. It is not just a neighborhood, but a reflection of Lagos itself, ambitious, diverse, layered, and full of contradictions. To explore Ikoyi is to step into a Lagos that most people never see. Beyond the gates and towers lies a place of history, culture, resilience, and quiet beauty. From colonial relics to bustling backstreets, from luxury estates to humble communities, Ikoyi is both a symbol of privilege and a testament to survival. This is Ikoyi, a neighborhood that embodies the past, defines the present, and continues to shape the future of Lagos.